Alright, so now we'll create a list inside the Apple div, a list of elements, and we want to be able to drag those elements inside the droppable elements, and we want to see them being added to the element. Okay, so let's go for that. So let's go to the Apple div and just change the content to a list of elements. So rather than having a paragraph, we're going to have an ordered list. Let's have our items there, eggs, milk, and bread. So now, okay, let's give our list an ID. And if you go back to our accept option, so you're going to be accepting the list items of our list of ID lists. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna select the elements of ID list. Okay, and we are looking at the list items because we want to be able to drag and drop these list items. Okay, that's one thing. We need to make sure that these items are draggable. So the way to do that is by, so we're going to select the list using its ID, but we're not interested in the list itself, we're interested in the list items. So we need to find the list items. So we're going to use the method find, and the parameter is going to be list item, and then we can use the draggable method. All right, that's how it works. Okay, so first let's make sure that these items are draggable. Okay, we can drag them. Okay, but the thing is, we don't want the elements themselves to be dragged. We only want a copy of them to be dragged. So we're gonna use another option. It's called a helper, and what we're going to be doing, we're going to set that to clone, because we want to drag a clone of these elements. Okay, and also we're going to set another option, is going to be append to. So we're specifying which elements we're appending the element to, and in our case we're appending to the body. Okay, so if we try now, we can see that we are dragging only a clone of the elements. Okay, and we're appending to the body. We can try another elements. If we append to all the paragraphs of our documents, so we will see that once we drag them, we're appending them to all the elements of the paragraphs. Okay, so we're appending them to all the paragraphs of the documents, basically. Okay. Okay, so let's change that to body. Now we're going to change the function we set for the drop option inside the droppable. We're going to keep the statement changing the background color. I'm just going to copy it for now and paste it later on. But the new function is going to have a couple of parameters. So these parameters are event and UI. These are a couple of objects that we're going to be using for this function. So we'll see how we're going to be using them later. So I'm going to paste the statements changing the background color. Okay. And now, as we said, we want to drag the elements, the list items, and add them to the div content. So first, we want to get rid of this paragraph. Okay, so we're going to select the droppable using the keyword this, and we're going to find all the paragraphs, and then we will remove them using the remove method. That's the first thing. And then we want to append those elements that we're dragging to the content. of the div. Okay? So one way of doing that is by getting the text of the element, okay, and then putting that text within HTML tags, and then appending the HTML code to the droppable element. So let's try, for example, let's try to put the text of these elements inside paragraph tags. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to select an empty paragraph. Okay, so we're just going to write here HTML code of an empty paragraph, and then we're going to use the method text, and now we're going to be accessing the text value of the draggable elements. So we're going to use the UI objects. Okay, so the syntax is going to be UI and then draggable and then text. Alright, so we are getting the text value of the draggable elements, okay, and then we are setting the text of this empty paragraph, we're setting it to the value of the draggable element. So at the end of the day, we're going to get a paragraph, and within the paragraph, we get the value of the draggable elements. So if we're dragging X, for instance, we end up with a paragraph with text there showing eggs. And then finally we need to append this to our droppable elements using the keyword this. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so append to this. Okay, let's try again. So now if I drop it there, so you can see that we are okay. Okay, so let's check our div. Okay, actually we didn't put the text inside a paragraph, so let's do that and check what's happening. So now if we drag an element, okay, so now we see that we removed the original paragraph we had in the div and we appended the element inside a paragraph. Okay, but the problem is whenever we drag an element, we remove all the paragraphs inside the div. So if we drag another element, now what's going to happen is we will remove all the paragraphs, and the eggs text there is within a paragraph, so it's going to be removed. Okay, so if I drag that, the paragraph is removed, and it's we've got a new paragraph appended there. Okay, so to avoid this issue, so rather than wrapping the elements with using p tags, we can use another tag. We can use an li tag for a list item, for instance. Okay, so let's try this. So now if we drag an element, so first the paragraph is going to be removed, and we're going to place this item that we are dragging. So once it's dropped, it's going to be placed within li tags and then appended to the div. So let's drop it. Fine. So let's drag and drop another element. Okay, so we can see that now it is working. If we drag the other element again, so it is working. Okay. All right. So we have learned in this video a little bit about the draggable and droppable effects. Also, we went to see a little bit more advanced stuff using some functions using the event and UI objects. All right. In the next videos, we'll cover a few more interactions.